to World of Warships with Bucketeer. Today we're going to start something new, a series I'm going to call Opening Salvos. First impressions can be pretty important when you get a ship, and I kind of thought it'd be interesting to document my first impressions whenever I get a new ship now. Part of the impetus for doing this was that when I first got my New Mexico, I took that ship out, brand new captain, brand new ship, no upgrades, no skills, and got 5 kills and did 80-something thousand damage with it. And that made a heck of a good first impression for me with the New Mexico, so I figured, let's take the LoLorado out, see how it does. So I start the match off by letting my team know that this is the first battle in my LoLorado, so good news for them. So whip out in the map mode and head over towards the decap, because I'm closer to the decap, and the LoLorado is a standard type battleship, which means, 21 knots top speed. So I'm not going anywhere fast, and by the time I get over to A, I wouldn't be able to accomplish anything. And I take a look at my team, and so far, I'm not seeing anybody turning to starboard, which is not good news for me. It's about this time that the team-damaging moron in the Fuso discovers the voice commands and starts to spam them as fast as he can. I don't know if he's trying to bait us into shooting him or not, but I'd consider it at this point. So, taking a look at the rest of the team, yeah, everybody's heading over towards A. Not really ready to say that's a total lemming train, but, draw your own conclusions. So I'm not going to get stuck off by myself in a slow, fat battleship, just waiting for the enemy team to come eat me alive. So I start turning hard to get over towards the rest of my team. And the first thing I notice is that the LoLorado does not turn nearly as quickly as the New Mexico. It still has that great 640 meter turning radius, but it takes it a little bit longer to get into the turn than the New Mexico. It does hold its speed fairly well. Even though I was turning as hard as I possibly could, I only shed about 2.5 knots. So, that's good news. And the enemy team is starting to pop up on the map, and I take a hit while I'm busy trying to report the spammer. Yeah, okay. So that enemy Nagato has started to open fire on me, and yeah, Nagato, I'll bounce back and forth between those. But I start turning to try to improve my angle against this guy so I don't take any more broadside shots from him. And get my guns turned around. And my anti-aircraft guns open up on this Saipan's fighters, which those F4Us are excellent fighters. And trying to line up a shot on the Nagato, but there we go. Rounds out. And it's right about this time that I realize, yeah, I had fired HE, so brand new ship, it defaults to HE, but nothing hit anyways, so we're off to a fantastic start. And yeah, that Saipan had those, I'm double checking on what kind of carrier it was, but that Saipan had his fighters orbiting around my head for several, probably 20 seconds, and I didn't knock down a single one of them, which is disappointing because in my New Mexico, I probably would have slaughtered 3 or 4 of them, no problem. The B hull on the LoLorado is not great. And yes, this is my first match in the LoLorado, but I had quite a bit of free XP, so I got and I take a big hit on the broadside. Start using my damage recovery ability, and start looking for who did it to me. Probably the Nagato? I guess the angle was just good. But like I was saying, I had quite a bit of free XP, so I went ahead and used it to upgrade a few of the bits and bobs of the ship so I wasn't completely awful. You can go back and check the start of the video to see the 0 XP and as well as the 0 XP on the captain. So first volley, I get a good solid hit as well as an over penetration and a bounce for 5,300 damage, but there is a Kamikaze R who is starting to poke around, and I am now getting nervous because I don't have a whole lot of support over here, and I've got a destroyer on my tail. At least I think I do. As it turns out, this Kamikaze R was just not interested in having anything to do with me. And you'll find out why later. But suffice it to say, he's just trying to get undetected and leaving me alone. Third salvo out against the Nagato. The second proper one with armor-piercing shells. And right off the bat, I'm starting to notice something that makes me a little bit nervous. The New Mexico's guns are not amazing in terms of range or damage on the end, but they are quick with the shells, and their dispersion is nice and tight. So you can aim them effectively and hit what you're shooting at. And I'm already kind of noticing something that's got me nervous about the LoLorado. The dispersion definitely seems to be quite a bit higher. And oh, for once I get the shell cam with the one that hits, and I get a nice solid penetration. So yeah, the dispersion has me worried at this point. I am still trying to catch up with the rest of my team, and that kamikaze is still heading out to sea, and I would have expected to get some torps on me by now, but nope. So send out another care package for the Nagato. And yeah, there just seems to be a much higher dispersion on these guns. Alright, another good solid hit. And I'm racking up some solid damage against this guy. I definitely took some big hits, but by this point I'm starting to climb back towards parity with him as far as damage output. So now we have a Pensacola joining that Nagato, but at extreme range, yeah, I don't feel real confident about that shot against the Pensacola. But the Nagato, though, I'll take that pot shot. Send some more shells downrange. Now this, if I recall, was not a particularly well aimed volley. Well, actually I take that back. That was a fine volley, 2 solid penetrations and 1 non-penetration. So again, some more good damage getting turned out here. Now that Nicholas is over there doing some spotting and trying to make sure the sea stays capped. And he's hunting for a shot on this Nagato, but he's going the wrong direction around the island. So I'm not getting the interference marker, so I take the shot. And the Nagato's a pretty strong ship. It always gave me issues when I was in my New Mexico. Not tremendous ones, though, because like most Japanese battleships, it started life with not nearly as good armor as it wound up with later. So you have a chance to penetrate it. So now I'm noticing that I've got some help. I've got this Miyoko and Omaha, as well as that Nicholas, are giving me some support. So now that I have some people that are joining me, I'm going to get turned around and go give them some backup. So that Pensacola is taking pot shots at our cruisers, but he is very much turning tail and running. You know, as somebody who just got over having to do his penance in the Pensacola, I understand. Probably not the best thing to be doing, but I do get it. So getting some more shots lined up on this Nagato. Send them downrange, and yeah, that Pensacola is trying to put some distance between us and him and turning, but he's putting a few parting shots in towards our cruisers, and those 8-inch guns can be fairly brutal if they get hits on you, as I said in my revisit of the Pensacola, my addenda to the review. But I don't really want to try to be pegging a fast-moving cruiser at almost 18 kilometers. It's almost as pointless as shooting at a destroyer. So the Nagato looks like he's turning towards me, so I give him a little lead, drop the shells a little bit, and yeah, I'm way too broadside towards him. So now I'm starting to try to get turned around, improve the angle. But this Nagato has not really showed much interest in taking shots at me. He seems to be more interested in our cruisers than anything else, which works for me. It lets me just sit back here and take pot shots at him all day long. And yeah, that Nagato's not real happy with his Pensacola, and I can't blame him because he's getting hung out to dry by that Pensacola. Gets good hits in on him, and our cruisers are closing in. See more torpedoes in the water there. At this point, it's just a contest to see who's going to get to claim the kill. And it's the Nicholas who winds up burning them down. Now we've got the Cyclone is moving in, and the Cyclone is one of those game, I'm trying to think what to call it, one of those game factors that when they first came out, I was driving my destroyer a lot, and I like the Cyclone. Because if you're in a destroyer, the Cyclone is fantastic. It helps you disappear, and you can run around and stealth cap. You can go hunt down battleships and get close to them. You have a lot more flexibility to move around the map without any worries about somebody being able to find you. In cruisers, yeah, maybe not so much. With cruisers, it entirely depends. Oh, here we have those Corsairs are back chasing some of our enemy, or chasing some of our dive bombers. And I try to help them out with some of my anti-aircraft fire, but the B hull is, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I haven't done the research on the Colorado yet, like I did for the New Mexico, but I'm going to suspect the B hull is an early to late 30s mod to the Colorado. So most of the anti-aircraft fire power is still concentrated in a few 5-inch guns, and then in a large mass of 20 millimeter Oerlikons. These ships also carried the 20. Oh, that Pensacola took out our Nicholas, but then our Omaha takes out the Pensacola. So, yep, we lost all that progress on the decap, and gonna have to wait for the Omaha to get in there. I launched my catapult spotter to try to help me out with the looks. As I was saying, the B hull of the Colorado does not have any of the 40 millimeter Bofors guns, so its mid-range anti-aircraft firepower is very weak. So that's why this Saipan has been able to get away with having all those fighters linger near me, and I'm just not accomplishing much. Now, our Omaha takes a bad hit from the dive bombers, and I start to maneuver to come around this headland, get my guns pointed in the right direction, and prepare to engage whoever's going to be out here. So our Omaha is now capping D, but he is undoubtedly spotted by those fighters, which is really less unfortunate. Now, if you're taking a look at the scores, we are behind a little bit. We still got 4 battleships, but we've only got this Omaha and our Ranger are the only other ships left on the team. And the battleships are all up there towards B trying to cap it. Well, our Ranger, has just run into that kamikaze. Yeah, that kamikaze was absolutely fixated on attacking our carrier, completely ignoring me. I mean, I was out there on my own, and he probably could have come after me, but he completely ignored me, and yep, there you go. He got the Ranger, but he's completely out of position, and enemy New Mexico got our Omaha. So it looks like I know who I'm going to run into when I come around here and move into the decap. So a little bit of recon by fire there with our Omaha. So got my guns turned around, and oh no, there's those enemy's fighters back again, making sure that I'm spotted. So whoever is that New Mexico that took out our Omaha undoubtedly knows exactly where I'm at. So he's going to have his guns pointed dead on me whenever we finally get into range. Because right now the Cyclone has reduced range to 8 kilometers, which for battleships, Cyclones are terrible, because you just cannot get that long range firepower. It just really makes you susceptible to situations you otherwise wouldn't be, because enemy ships can get in close without you even being able to see them. And they're undetected by a surface vessel, and it's the New Mexico. What a pity. First game in my new battleship, and I have to engage my old battleship that I love so much. So start taking pot shots at him, trying to angle a little bit better to get myself in a more advantageous angle. And yeah, right now I'm realizing that people were not joking about the dispersion of the Colorado's guns. This is kind of ridiculous. I am only 5.5 kilometers from this guy, and I'm getting that kind of dispersion. Yeah, that dispersion is still not good. I'm aiming towards the water line, and I'm hitting high, and take a hit, and I lose one of my forward turrets. Looks like he's burning from my secondaries, and I'm getting everything lined up, and yeah, I need that forward turret, but since it was such a short incapacitation, I don't repair it. Now, I'm just trying to figure out what this guy's doing. We are losing ships. We've lost the Omaha, we've lost the Ranger. I don't know if this guy might be going for a ram or what. So, on the off chance that he is, I throw the ship into a hard turn, and as I do, his shots all strike the rear armor belt and just bounce off. But at this point, my guns cannot turn quickly enough to bear on this guy, and I think he's probably having about the same problems. So our secondary guns are opening them up, and we are passing by each other. And I am trying to get the bow of the ship around to get aimed at him. Such a pity. But you can definitely see the similarities between these two ships. And draw a bead and fire, and take off a nice big chunk of his HP right there. I'm getting some support from one of our other battleships. My secondary guns have lit this guy up. And there we go. Get the penetration and, oh, island, shoot. Okay, so I throw the rudder hard over to starboard and start trying to make that turn. Oh, it's going to be close. But that enemy Saipan is out here, not too far away. So I try to chop the throttle, see if I can't skid this thing away from the island. Oh, what do you know? Just going to make it. And we're capping D. And that Congo is over here, not the spammer. But that Saipan is present and accounted for. So with everything clear, oh, and he is reversing. So take the shot. Why not? AP loaded, and yeah, I mean, I might want to set the thing's flight deck on fire, but yeah, I'll take that too. So he is still reversing, and see if I can't snake these shells over the hill. Oh, one of them didn't, but yeah. And somebody has been capping C. If I had to guess, I'd say that's probably the kamikaze coming back towards us. So now I got this little point of land is between me and the Saipan, who is taking shots from both me and the Congo. So not getting anything in the way marker, so take the shot, and oh, 3 of them, which is not good. But that Saipan is backing up very slowly. I'm not sure why he's reversing like that. It should be pretty obvious by now that me and the Congo both know fully well what he's doing. But he continues backing up in a straight line, so, you know, don't interrupt the enemy when they're making a mistake. And oh, the Mahan took out the Congo. So I take a blind shot after the Saipan. And now that means that the Mahan is probably over somewhere towards B. Oh! Citadel the Saipan. And I can't help but gloat a little bit. No scoped. Alright, so I undoubtedly have a destroyer somewhere over near B, and I have another destroyer who has just popped up. Oh no, 5 kilometers. So that's not good. So at this point I know torpedoes are inbound. So rudder hard over as I can. He's smoking it up. My guns are not gonna, well, take some shots. Maybe I'll get lucky. There are those torpedoes, and manage to dodge all of them, barely. Alright, so now this guy's in his smoke screen. He's reloading his torpedo launchers. He's not lighting me up, but it wouldn't do him much good. D is already capped, so he has to get in here, and he has to kill me and then get in here to cap it. So it turns out I've been spotted for one of his buddies. The enemy Koenig is coming up. So now taking a look at the tickets, we're up to 947. A is being capped, but they're over 100 tickets behind. If I don't get killed, I can still win this, even though I am by myself. So I am maneuvering. I'm trying to make sure that I don't sail in a straight line, even as I'm sailing in a straight line, but I'm trying to throw off that kamikaze so that any attempt on his part to torpedo me fails while I line this Koenig up. May as well. So I'm still pretty well angled against that Koenig, so I'm not too worried about his shots, and shouldn't be because he's not that great of a shot. I get 1 over pin on the Koenig. And now I'm back into a hard turn just in case that kamikaze is reloaded, because he is actually probably getting pretty close to being reloaded. But he runs out of the smoke screen for I don't know why. Guess he's getting aggressive. He probably knows the situation, and they have to kill me at this point. But it's not going to happen. With that destroyer kill, we go over on tickets, and the game is won. So on my first time out in the Colorado, 104, almost 105,000 damage, the Solo Warrior badge, 200,000 credits. I get 47 hits, shoot down 4 enemy airplanes. I destroy 3 enemy ships, and I even captured a point for almost 2,000 base XP on my very first match in the LoLorado. You know, that's another good first impression. Now we'll see how things go in the long run, but right now, it's off to a pretty good start. That'll about do it for today. I'm Bogatir, and I'll catch you next time.